2 days before our wedding in Napa Valley, I found a $912 hotel charge from my fiancée's card. She said it was for her bridesmaid. So I called the hotel. They said her guest had checked in under the name Matt. I never spoke to her again. 2 days before my wedding, I found a hotel charge on my fiancée's card. $912. Not for our suite. Not for the bridal party. Not even at the hotel we booked. It was for a completely different resort. Across town. Somewhere we hadn't even visited. I'm Ethan. I'm 32. And until that moment, I thought I was about to marry the love of my life. Claire and I had been together for 3 years. We met through mutual friends during a wine-tasting trip to Sonoma. And, ironically, this wedding was meant to be our full-circle moment. A vineyard ceremony in Napa, surrounded by friends, sunset over the vines, soft music, handwritten vows. It was supposed to be perfect. We were already in Napa for the pre-wedding stuff. I had just finished lunch with my best man when I realized we still needed to settle some last-minute vendor bills. I logged into the shared expense tracker we were using for all things wedding. That's when I saw it. Napa Ridge Boutique Hotel, $912.48. The charge had gone through that morning. It caught my attention not just because of the price, but because we weren't staying there. Our venue had a package deal with an estate down the road. We had rooms booked for ourselves, our parents, and our bridal party. All accounted for. So why was Claire dropping nearly $1,000 at a hotel we had no connection to? I didn't panic at first. I figured it could have been something for a friend. Maybe a last-minute room for one of the bridesmaids. Claire had been stressed all week. Things with the florist had gone sideways, and her mom was being, well, a nightmare. So I texted her. Me. Hey, quick thing. Saw the $912 charge at Napa Ridge. Is that for someone in the wedding? She replied 5 minutes later. Claire. Yeah. Alyssa was having a panic attack and needed her own room. I put it on my card. She said she'll pay me back. That didn't sit right. Alyssa? Her most low-maintenance friend? The one who literally said she'd sleep in a sleeping bag if it helped cut costs? I called BS, but didn't show it. I took a deep breath and replied something chill like, got it. Hope she's okay. But in my head, alarm bells. I was sitting in the hotel bar, staring at that charge, just going over and over the details. The name of the hotel, the price, the timing. And then I remembered something. The last time Claire used her card for Alyssa, it had come through labeled as guest, name Alyssa K. This time, it was just guest name, Matt. That's what finally made me pause. I opened the charge details. There it was again. Guest, Matt T. Claire didn't even try to hide it properly. I don't know what came over me, but I picked up the hotel phone on the counter in the bar and dialed the front desk of Napa Ridge. I didn't say I was the fiancé. I just said I was calling to confirm a reservation under my card. Just wanted to make sure my friend had checked in okay. The woman on the line was polite, casual, and completely oblivious to the emotional grenade she was about to drop. Receptionist. Yes, Mr. T. Checked in around 11:30 this morning. Would you like me to connect you to his room? I didn't answer at first. I just sat there. Receptionist. Sir. I cleared my throat. No, that's all right. Just wanted to confirm he was in. Thanks. I hung up and sat there for a long, long time. I didn't tell anyone that night. Not my best man. Not my sister. Not Claire. I just sat at the edge of my bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I could be 2 days from marrying a woman who had checked into a hotel with someone named Matt. What was I supposed to say? Should I confront her? Or wait and see what else came crawling out of the dark? By the next morning, I'd already made my decision. The morning after I found out about the hotel charge, I woke up early. Earlier than I needed to. My body didn't care that it was supposed to be a calm day before the wedding. I didn't sleep much anyway. Claire was already gone when I opened my eyes, said she was doing a final fitting run and brunch with her friends. That was normal. But suddenly, everything felt like a lie wrapped in a routine. She had smiled at me when she left, kissed me, said she loved me, then walked out wearing the same white wrap dress she wore the last time I saw a mirror selfie pop up on her camera roll. That one had made me pause a couple weeks ago, and I didn't think much of it then. She said it was just a pre-wedding spa day. Said it was the girls. Said she needed her space before becoming a wife. Now I wasn't so sure. I opened my laptop and logged into the shared iCloud folder we hadn't used in months. Back when we were apartment hunting together, we synced everything. Phones, notes, photo albums. I guess she assumed I forgot it was still connected. I opened the most recent folder and found a batch of new photos. A few flower arrangement mock-ups. A picture of her holding a champagne glass on the hotel bed. And then, one photo hit me like a punch in the throat. She was in a robe, hair slightly wet, glass of wine in one hand. But that's not what stopped me. In the mirror behind her, just barely visible, was the reflection of a man's legs. Jeans. Expensive-looking shoes. A brown leather wallet on the nightstand. The initials on the wallet. M.T. I zoomed in. It wasn't a detail she meant to capture. The photo was supposed to look casual, carefree, but it told a whole different story. I just stared at it. The timestamp matched the check-in time from the hotel charge. That's when it all came together. She didn't just cheat. She used our wedding trip to do it. She brought another man to Napa, checked him into a 5-star hotel, let him sip wine on sheets that were probably bought with part of our venue deposit. I sat there, staring at the screen, heart thudding so loud I felt it in my ears. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I decided to test something. I texted Alyssa. The bridesmaid Claire claimed needed the hotel room. Said I heard she wasn't feeling well and wanted to check in on her. Alyssa responded right away. Said she felt great. Confused, even. She'd spent the night at the Airbnb with the other bridesmaids. They had been binge-watching reality shows and drinking rose. Said she didn't leave the house once. No hotel. No solo meltdown. Nothing. That was the moment everything clicked into place. Claire hadn't just lied. She invented a cover story using one of her best friends. She counted on me not checking. But she forgot who she was marrying. I'm not the scream-in-your-face kind of guy. I don't throw things or yell. I grew up with a dad who taught me that real control doesn't need noise. Real consequences? They're quiet. So I picked up the phone and called my older sister, Vanessa. She's a corporate attorney, and the person I trust more than anyone. I told her everything. Not the emotional parts, just the facts. The charge. The photo. The fake story. The timing. She didn't even hesitate. Said if I was serious about walking away, I had 48 hours to protect myself. The venue contract, the vendor deals, the joint accounts. Most of them were under my name. Claire had been leaning on me financially through the planning process. Her job had taken a hit, so I covered the bigger deposits. The caterer, the transportation, the honeymoon flights. And if I backed out now, without a plan, I'd be stuck holding the bag for a wedding I no longer wanted. Vanessa said one sentence that stuck with me. If you're going to disappear, disappear smart. So that's what I did. I went into full calculation mode. By sunset, I had frozen our joint credit card. By 10 p.m., I had canceled the honeymoon reservation. The flight change fees were a nightmare, but worth every cent. And while Claire laughed with her friends over dinner that night, I was sending cancellation emails to the string quartet, the wedding photographer, and the florist. But I left one thing untouched. The venue. That one I was saving for later. Because if Claire wanted a fairy tale moment with Matt, she could have it. I just planned to make sure it came with a very real price tag. By the next morning, I had reached that eerie kind of calm. Not the peaceful kind. No, the cold, focused kind, where you feel everything and nothing at once. I'd already processed the heartbreak. Now I was thinking like a man who had been lied to, used, and humiliated, and was about to make sure it didn't happen quietly. Claire still didn't know what I had uncovered. She was smiling through brunch with her mom and bridesmaids, posting soft-filtered photos of table settings and fake laughs like she hadn't just betrayed the man footing the entire bill. I didn't even flinch when she sent me a text saying, "Can't wait to see you at rehearsal dinner tonight, Red Heart." Instead of replying, I was across town, sitting in the lobby of a hotel I had never planned to visit. Napa Ridge Boutique Hotel, the one with the $912 charge. I had booked a lunch reservation at their restaurant under my name, just to get a feel for the place. I walked through the lobby slowly, looking at every couple that passed. I didn't see Claire or Matt, but I did notice something that made my stomach twist. At the front desk, a tray of room keys sat neatly arranged with name cards. One of them had M. Thomas written in clean silver lettering. It didn't surprise me. It just confirmed what I already knew. He was still here, which meant she'd likely see him again today, maybe even tonight. While I was supposed to raise a toast with our friends and family, she'd be sneaking away to continue her little affair in the same town we were supposed to say our vows. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I ordered coffee. Then I opened my laptop and started making final moves. First, I reached out to our wedding planner, told her there had been a family emergency and that all future communication would go through me directly. I requested a line-by-line copy of every active booking, invoice, and balance. I wanted to know exactly what Claire had signed and what I had. Turns out, 90% of it was under my name. The photographer, the videographer, the estate rental, even the shuttle service that was supposed to ferry guests from the hotel to the vineyard. And the best part? The venue itself. The $12,000 vineyard estate we booked last year. Claire had insisted on handling that contract. said she wanted to feel involved. But she had used my credit card, and I had signed as the guarantor. So technically, she was the contact person, but I was the only one legally responsible for payments, which meant I could cancel it with one call, and she'd be the one left standing in front of 85 guests with nowhere to go. I smiled for the first time that day. Back at the hotel, I asked the front desk if I could book a room for tomorrow night. The clerk checked, and sure enough, the suite next to Matt Thomas was still available. I didn't even hesitate. I booked it. Not to stay there, just to be there. To make sure I saw what I needed to see. Call it closure. Call it strategy. I just needed to know, beyond any doubt, that she was still lying, still sneaking around while pretending to be the perfect bride. Later that night, I showed up to the rehearsal dinner like nothing was wrong. I wore the suit she picked. I gave the toast her dad expected. I thanked our guests and hugged relatives. Claire sat beside me the whole time, smiling, playing the role of doting fiancée. At one point, she even whispered that she couldn't wait for our honeymoon. I almost laughed. That flight was already canceled. Instead, I raised my glass and said, "To the future," and meant every single word, just not the way she thought. The next night, the one that was supposed to be our last as an engaged couple, I was nowhere near Claire. At least, not in the way she expected. She thought I'd be at the estate, that I'd be having dinner with our families and winding down before the big day, that I'd be going to bed early, preparing for forever. But I wasn't at the estate. I was back at Napa Ridge Boutique Hotel, in a pressed shirt and blazer, sitting alone at a table near the back of the terrace restaurant. I had chosen the corner for a reason. It gave me a clear view of the entrance and most of the dining area, but kept me out of the main path. It was 7:32 p.m. when I saw her. Claire walked in wearing a pale blue dress I hadn't seen before. Her hair was down. She looked relaxed, effortlessly beautiful, like someone on vacation. She wasn't alone. Matt walked in just behind her, hand on the small of her back. No rush, no sneaking. They were acting like a couple, like they'd done this 100 times before. They were shown to a table just 10 feet away from mine, and neither of them noticed me at first. I stayed still, took a sip of wine, watched them laugh, order appetizers, clink their glasses. I knew the man sitting across from her had no idea she was supposed to be getting married the next day. He looked way too casual, too comfortable. He probably thought he was on a romantic getaway with a new girlfriend. For a few minutes, I just watched. It was surreal, like seeing someone you thought you knew performing a role in a play you didn't buy tickets for. And then Claire's eyes landed on mine. It was quick. She did a double take, blinked like she wasn't sure what she was seeing. But I didn't look away. I didn't wave. I didn't speak. I just raised my glass. Slowly, calmly. Her entire face changed. She turned pale, almost dropped her fork. Matt leaned in, confused, asking her something. She muttered something back and looked toward me again. That's when I stood up and walked over to the waiter. I handed him my credit card and pointed to their table. "Bottle of your best vintage red. Send it over. Charge it to the same card she used last night." He blinked, confused, but didn't question me. I walked past their table. Didn't stop. Didn't slow down. Just left the terrace and headed toward the valet. Behind me, I heard Claire say my name. Once. Then again. Louder. But I didn't turn around. Not until I reached the exit and the valet handed me my keys. That's when I looked back, just in time to see Matt standing up, confused, asking her questions. Claire was trying to explain something. Her hands were shaking. She looked like someone whose world had just flipped inside out. Good. She had spent the last few days acting like this was her movie, like she was the lead and I was the supporting cast. But now the audience had changed. The script was burning, and she didn't know what came next. Before I left, I made sure to tell the front desk something simple. The card on file for her room was no longer valid, that she'd need to provide a new one before checkout. Then I drove off, windows down, music low, back to a small inn on the other side of Napa. No champagne, no guest list, just silence and air that didn't reek of lies. When I got back, I turned off my phone. The real wedding had already happened, and it was mine. I never went back to the estate. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not ever. While Claire woke up wondering if she could spin a lie fast enough to glue her broken mask back together, I was already gone. Out of Napa, out of reach, and out of her life. But the wedding? That was still very much on the calendar. Guests were still arriving. Vendors were setting up. The estate was getting decorated, table cards placed, catering trucks unloading. I had paid for most of it in advance, which meant the show would go on, just without the groom. The first domino fell around 8:15 a.m. That's when the estate's event manager texted me asking why the groom's party hadn't arrived yet. I didn't answer. At 8:47, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Claire's mom. Still nothing from me. Then the call started. Dozens. Then over 100. By 10 o'clock, I'd already forwarded everything to Vanessa, my sister and attorney, with one sentence. Let them deal with each other. Because I had no intention of showing up to a wedding that had died the second she walked into that hotel room with Matt. Instead, I sent one final message. Not to Claire. To her parents. I wrote, ask your daughter who Matt is. Ask her why she charged a hotel room to our wedding fund. And ask her what she was doing the night before she was supposed to marry me. Then I attached the photo. The mirror one. The one with her robe, the wine glass, and Matt's wallet. Her mother left me 4 voicemails within the next hour. One of them was just her sobbing. Her father? No voicemail. Just a text. Understood. We will not contact you again. I heard later that guests began arriving around 11:30, only to be greeted by Claire, standing alone at the edge of the ceremony site, making up stories on the fly. She said there'd been a mix-up, that I was delayed, that I was dealing with a family emergency. The maid of honor, Alyssa, the one Claire used in her lie, wasn't having it. Apparently, she stood up, looked Claire dead in the eye, and asked, was Matt the emergency? Boom. Right in front of the guests. Someone texted me that the entire place went silent. Even the string quartet stopped mid-song. Turns out Alyssa had known something. Not everything, but enough. She'd confronted Claire a few days earlier when she noticed Claire sneaking off with her phone at odd hours, vanishing for long stretches during planning. Claire had waved it off, said she needed alone time. But Alyssa wasn't stupid. And after the wedding collapsed, she reached out to me directly, said she was sorry, said she wanted to warn me sooner, but Claire had threatened to cut her out of the bridal party, said she didn't know about the hotel, only that there was another guy. And Claire had been planning an exit strategy just in case I turned out to be a boring husband. Those were her exact words. A boring husband. That's what Claire called me. The guy who paid for the venue, handled the contracts, coordinated with vendors, and treated her like a queen for 3 years. Matt didn't know about me, by the way. Alyssa said Claire had told him I was an ex, that we'd broken up months ago, that she was going through wedding stress and needed to escape expectations. He thought he was saving her. Turns out, he was just helping her destroy everything. By that evening, word had spread. The guests knew the wedding was off. The estate staff started tearing down the decorations. The caterer packed up untouched trays of hors d'oeuvres. And Claire? She stayed. Alone. Someone sent me a photo of her, barefoot, walking through the reception hall with her dress half unzipped and mascara streaked down her face. She looked like a woman who had finally realized her performance was over. No applause. No bouquet. Just silence and shame. I didn't speak to her that day. Or the next. She tried to call. 47 missed calls, last I checked. Voicemails. Emails. Texts. All unread. Because some people don't deserve closure. They deserve the echo of your absence. It was almost 3 weeks after the non-wedding when I got the message. I'd blocked Claire on everything. Phone, email, social media. I even switched my number after the first barrage of messages got out of hand. But one day, a request came through on my private Instagram account. The one I barely used. The one only close friends followed. It was from a guy named Matt Thomas. I froze for a second when I saw the name. Not because I was scared. Just curious. I didn't expect to hear from him. His message was long. Surprisingly calm. He started by apologizing, not just for what had happened, but for being part of it without knowing. He said Claire had told him I was her toxic ex-fiancée, that I had bailed on the wedding months ago, and that she was still sorting out the mess. He believed her. All of it. He said he met her at a gallery opening 6 months prior. Said she had been slowly opening up about her complicated past, that she made it sound like she was this free-spirited woman trying to escape a controlling relationship. He bought it. Until Napa. Until the night he saw my face. He said Claire didn't even deny it at first. Just froze. Then stammered something about closure and old feelings. But when he pressed her, it all crumbled. She finally admitted she was supposed to get married that weekend. That I had paid for everything. That she'd been emotionally confused. That she didn't mean for it to go this far. But it had gone that far. Way past it. Matt didn't stick around after that. Apparently, he packed his bag that night and flew home. Said he felt sick, like he'd been used as a pawn in someone else's escape plan. And in his words, I thought I was the rebound. Turns out, I was just the distraction before she got bored again. He told me he didn't expect forgiveness. Just wanted me to know he wasn't in on it. That he didn't want anything from me. And then he said something I didn't expect. You deserve better. And I hope she never gets the chance to ruin someone like you again. I didn't reply. Not out of spite. Just what was there left to say? He'd been lied to just like I had. Manipulated. Played. The only difference was, I was the one left at the altar, and he was the one Claire planned to disappear with. But neither of us stayed. I heard later from Vanessa that Claire had lost her job. Apparently, her company didn't appreciate the kind of publicity that came with the wedding fiasco. One of her co-workers had attended the ceremony, or what was supposed to be one, and the story spread like wildfire. The catering company even posted a now-deleted TikTok about that one time the groom never showed up, and people in the comments pieced it together. Not hard, considering how many guests had posted pictures with captions like, "You won't believe what happened today." Her apartment lease? That was under my cosign, and I'd already contacted the landlord to remove my name. With no steady income, she was evicted within the month. Last I heard, she was staying with a cousin in Sacramento, trying to start over. And maybe she will, but she'll never rewrite this one. Not in a way that lets her be the victim. Because too many people saw, too many people knew, and I never said a word to defend myself. I never went online, never posted a tell-all, never tried to get ahead of the story, because I didn't need to. The silence said everything. These days, I live in Seattle, got a new job, new place, and most importantly, peace. I still don't talk about the wedding. Not with friends, not even with family. But once in a while, someone will ask me why I moved, why I left California so suddenly. And I just smile and say, long story. Because it was a long story. But the ending? The ending was exactly how I needed it to be. No closure, no confrontation, just me, walking away, while they watched the fairy tale burn. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story? It's even worse than this one.